Hi, Earth Angels. So it's time for everyone to understand how real this is to me. And I haven't had a blood nose for a while, but I've just had one. And I decided that I'm going to talk about this. So I had an anxiety attack. I have crippling anxiety. I cough. I spew up water. It's very dramatic. And I just did, and then I ended up straight having a blood nose, okay? So I was writing, and we're up to the part where your God, who chose you, is going to restore everything that was taken from your identity in your life. And there has been a major attack on my identity. So in my mind because I have grandchildren, I haven't seen them for years, I miss them dearly, and they have been replaced. And I do have other beautiful, very loving children, but I'm petrified to love them. And their love is very genuine and absolutely gorgeous. So, but I feel like I'm dishonoring my own grandchildren by loving these other beautiful children that are right here. Anyway, let me go into the story. So, apparently back when I was 23, my grandmother started a lie, and that lie was that I was a prostitute that molested my grandfather. Excuse my anxiety. So apparently I molested my grandfather when I was 23, according to the story. And this story circulated around all my aunties and my uncles and my cousins and frickin' my brother, my sister, my mother, my stepfather. They all talked about it. And it grew and it developed, and I had a prostitute business in Auckland and all this sort of stuff. Meanwhile, I was a mum with children. And small children, and I was struggling in my own life. Anyway, with my fourth child, when I was pregnant with Charmy, I took a hit in my back, and that paralyzed my leg, and I hemorrhaged a lot. I nearly lost Charm, and she was an emergency cesarean at 28 weeks, and I lost a lot of blood, and we were in hospital for quite some time. And when she was 4 pounds 2 ounces, we brought her home. She was 2 pound 8 when she was born. She was very, very little, preemie. So nobody cared in my family. My mother was down as the next of kin on my medical things, and they called her, and she tried to put my children into welfare care. We know what the welfare system's like, don't we? So she tried to take my children from me while I was struggling for my life and my little daughter's life. Okay, so on and on the story went. I didn't know why everybody was so horrible to me, and I left. I was like, get fucked, all of you. And I moved with my children to Australia. We ended up in the forest. My life was a living hell. I really devalued myself. I was so confused. I didn't understand. Everyone was so mean to me, and I felt that I had no value, and I was treated very, very badly. And I was beaten up a lot. And I also had some amazing spiritual experiences. But anyway, moving forward, I thought I was going to die there, but I remembered that I didn't belong there, and I prayed. And when I prayed, of course, an answer came, and it came from my mother. Now, I have deeply yearned to be with my mother all my life because she left when I was 5. And I was the oldest of 3 children. And it was a great responsibility on me as a very small child. But anyway, I come back home to New Zealand. Everybody's welcoming. My mother's crying, all this sort of stuff. And then years go by, my nana died, and I went to the funeral, and that's when everybody attacked me for being a prostitute, and over Nana's dead body would I be looking after my grandfather, and on. The accusations, which I could not defend in any way possible. There was no proof. So my mother went on this big mission, and she got these paperwork and from police and all this sort of stuff, and showed it to all the cousins, and put it on an email and all this. Janice, Nana didn't do this and Nana didn't do that, and there is no evidence that Janice did this, and of course there's fucking no evidence, because it never happened. It literally never happened. It was a made-up story. But anyway, I thought my nana might have been delusional, and I didn't know what to think of all this. And then I was walking along, and this building was being torn down, and I went over and I had a look. And on the ground was a Quran, and I'd never seen the Quran before, and I picked it up and I opened it up, and it was something like, when they die, you've got to pray for their spirit to be forgiven. And so I took it upon myself to do that, and I prayed for my grandmother, not knowing that she's an evil witch who has spent her whole life trying to destroy me since I was born. So many things have come and gone, and then, as I was saying, when it came to the part where somebody burned my beautiful car with all the art on it that my grandchildren had done for me, my daughter became the evil passed into my daughter, and she became the storyteller, and she told the story that I had molested my grandchild, which didn't happen. She said I was crawling on the floor with a whip. I was crawling on the floor, and he had the whip, and I was getting him to whip me, is the story that she told people. And all my other children stopped speaking to me. The mother of my granddaughters stopped speaking to me. Everyone. Nobody has spoken to me at all, except for my brother and one son, my son. So my son he started talking to me again, or suddenly, I don't know if he believes or not believes, but anyway, he's still a part of the darkness. So I don't know if he's what they call a flying monkey, and the other dark people are manipulating him, and I literally don't care, because they tried to kill me recently. They were unhappy that I was happy, and they took something of mine, which was my sunglasses. That's my mother, okay. And then the word went around, and I was still stupidly innocent. I sent my son a photo. I showed him this little goldfish that I'd got. That is my first companion that I've had for many, many years. Because every time I get one, someone murders it. So I had a cat, Benjamin. He was so gorgeous. He was murdered by someone water blasting, and it blew his eye out. They did it to him on purpose. I was so distraught. So were the neighbours. It was a bit of a distraught situation. We had to bury Benjamin, and I was fucking so distraught. So I got this little goldfish. He's just a baby. And I called it Sparkles because it had this one scale that shone and sparkled. Anyway, I sent the photo to my son, and obviously the darkness didn't like it that I had a fish, and sent the screaming bird at midnight, which I know is an evil witch. I know exactly who that witch is. It comes from the spiritual realm, and I am able to walk through the realms now because of all this that they put me through, sent me into the void. And that void, Lord Shiva got me from there. And that's why he is my Lord. Anyway, I had to watch my poor little sweet fish die a slow death, looking exactly like Norma Litchfield did, with the mouth the same, like that. He also died on the same date, which was the 27th, and that is a number, but it's a different month. And I know exactly why. So anyway, it's because the darkness is trying to destroy my heart, stealing everything I love from me, and also trying to steal my identity. But I'm more than one person. That person that I was, the mother, the grandmother, everything like that, she died. She died in that fire, guys. I am never going to be that person again. I am not that person. She's not alive. That innocent person is gone. And I am what is left. And I'm making sure that none of this shit continues anymore. And there will be judgment on everyone.